taken refuge, and he's still got one friend in President Nasser. After Cairo, Nkrumah stopped off in New Delhi to visit India's Prime Minister, Mrs. Gandhi. They discussed his projected peace mission to North Vietnam. But Nkrumah never got as far as Hanoi. It was on arrival in Peking that Chinese leaders broke the news to Nkrumah of his downfall. Mystery surrounded his immediate plans. Conflicting reports said he was going back to Ankrah, that he was going to Cairo, that he'd gone to Addis Ababa to appeal to the current Conference of African States. In the end, he flew to Moscow on the way to Guinea. But even the Russians were expected to recognize the new regime. In London, while the government held back from the immediate recognition, Ghanaian students were not holding anything back. Also in London, a Ghanaian who claimed leadership of a so-called Revolutionary Council. He said they had masterminded the coup from a flat in West Kensington. His name, Daniel Amir.
We had the okay yesterday about nearly 10 o'clock. We were ready, all waiting, anxiously waiting and sweating. We gave our order go ahead yesterday in the morning, and in the evening we had the reply that order received and operation is ready, stand by for further instructions.
It was a jaunty Mr. Amir who left London next day. But the attention he received in Ankrah wasn't quite what he'd had in mind. Whatever revolution was hatched in West Kensington, it seemed, had nothing to do with that dawn coup in Ankrah. Mr. Amir was branded by the real revolutionaries as a charlatan and a criminal, and he was taken off for a session of public penitence at the first news conference called by Ghana's new rulers. Their leader, General Arthur Ankrah, father of 22 and former mission school teacher, a man who's never concealed his dislike of Nkrumah. Before dealing with Mr. Amir, he had more important business.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, I would like to introduce my colleagues to you, some of the members of the National Liberation Council. As you've already been told, I need no introduction myself. But on my left here is the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Harley, who is the Deputy Chairman of the National Liberation Council. On my right is Major General E.K. Kotoka, who is the second member or the first member of the National Liberation Council. We have called you here this morning for one specific reason, and that is you've heard the name of one Amuhia who has associated himself with this coup and had published himself in the British papers and most of the papers that is the brain behind this. And we want to prove that we were not instigated by anybody, neither will want to refute any allegation that ACA or God knows what instigated us to carry out this coup. This coup was carried out completely because of the things that had happened in Ghana and because of the tyranny and the despotism of Kwame Nkrumah, the deposed president. Everybody in Ghana was fed up with it. And therefore you could see the spontaneous result which followed the coup. You would have seen when you were coming probably thinking that Ghana would have been put under curfew or all other things, but nothing was done. There was no brain behind it. It was work from us and from within, without the aid of anybody, any foreign country or any country. It has been some of these things in Ghana that when a ruler is useless, you depose him. And therefore we have deposed Kwame Nkrumah. We don't want tyranny or anything here. And therefore, I would like to not waste time to bring in Amu here for you to see him. And you can see that he doesn't even know. I don't know him. I haven't seen him before, neither is any of us. The only thing that we know of him since he started claiming himself was that the COP found in his records that he's a criminal who is wanted in Ghana. And we were so quiet because we wanted him. He's a criminal wanted in Ghana, so that we put him in the cold ice chest. Well, this is Mr. Amuhia. He calls himself Amuhia or Amushia or ever. His name is never spelled correct either. And we would like him to tell you how he organized this coup and how he was the brain behind it. And who he knew on this.
First and foremost, on the 24th morning, 8 o'clock news announced in London that Ghana has announced that jointly the army and the police have overthrown the regime of the tyrant, Nkrumah.
Did you come to brainwash me, Kotoka, the police, or somebody, and tell us how to conduct this? Or did you try to tell us where we should, how we should organize our army or the operations to be carried out?
No, sir. This is exactly what I am coming to, sir. If I should be given the opportunity, I shall explain thoroughly as I am before you and before the world press.
General Ankrah can squash a Mir, but will he make a national leader?
Of course, he's a very, very experienced soldier. He rose from the ranks. He served in India and Burma during the war as a warrant officer. After the war, he was commissioned and rose steadily up to be a major general. He was retired a few months ago and, of course, has now been brought back as commander of the forces.
He was really kicked out by Nkrumah.
Yes, it was never announced in so many words. In fact, he took the initiative to resign. But he's always been a very popular figure, and he's certainly a remarkably fine general, and I think will be a very good leader.
Do you expect him to stay in charge of Ghana, or do you think
that I don't know at all. One doesn't know how long these military regimes have to last.